Welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Mark Frechette.
And I'm Scott Guerin, the Research and Development Chef here at Modernist Pantry.
Do you struggle to strain? That sounded weird, but today we're talking about Superbags, which is actually a really exciting product that we have. Scott, tell us about it.
So, Superbags are a really amazing product to get rid of cheesecloth and some of the really expensive chinois that are straining things that you use in any kitchen.
Yeah.
They're reusable, they're dishwasher safe, they're also invertible, which makes them really good to get anything out that you need to. Say if you're straining something like ricotta cheese here, you can get it all out without having to waste. Sometimes with cheesecloth, it gets stuck in there, you can't really rinse it out. It gets wasted.
Yeah, straining is one of those activities you're doing in the kitchen that looks most like the black and white section of any given infomercial. It's messy, it never goes according to plan, and it needs way too much equipment of various sizes that take up too much room. You had mentioned the chinois, which can be affordable, but when you need a fine mesh, not so much, or the cheesecloths, which are just ungainly. Although great for a mummy costume, I will say. Yeah, so for that, we've got these Superbags, and to your point, you can use them to filter pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, you can, anything that you want to filter. Right here, I have some cold brew coffee that we love here around the test kitchen. It comes out extremely strong.
Yes, it does.
But you can make cold brew coffee in a day just with this, and you're not getting any of those grounds. You're not getting any of those little bits that can even sometimes get through a coffee filter.
Yeah, if you're one of those people that's invested heavily into one of those fine stainless steel meshes things, this will make you angry because it works a little bit better. And you also use it, we're a big fan of the Spinzall here, so the Spinzall in batch mode?
Yeah, so when you use Spinzall in batch mode, none of the liquid is coming out and coming through the nozzle, so it all stays inside the rotor.
Got it.
So you want to be able to take it out and pour it through a strainer just in case some seeds or some pulp comes out when you're pouring it through. And these work amazing. Like I said, invertible, they're extremely fine. So if you go with something like a 100 micron, we'll talk about the sizes, not only in volume, but in the size of the micron, the ability for something to go through in a little bit here. But if you do something in a Spinzall, you're using all that time and energy to make something crystal clear. You don't want to ruin it when you're doing the straining process.
Right, so let's talk about those microns real quick. Superbags are available in a couple of different sizes, and by size we mean, of course, the extra large, the large, the medium, and the small, but we also mean that micron, and that's going to be how fine the mesh is over here. So this one over here happens to be the finest mesh we have. This is the 100 micron. That's about the width of a human hair is going to fit through that, so it's too small to actually see. But it's kind of cool. We also have the 250. That's about 3 times the width of a human hair. It's an easy way to look at it, but maybe a gross in food sense. You've also got the 400, which is my favorite visually. The 400 mesh is the size of the bleeding edge of a crystal salt. It's weird, but it happens to be the right size. And we've got the 800 mesh.
800 here, which is the largest mesh, but if you're making anything like almond milk at home or soy milk, anything that has larger curds or whatnot, that you don't need to spend a lot of time waiting for it to strain, use the 800. It works amazing. And what is it, about a quarter of a sesame seed?
By length.
Yeah.
By length. And sorry for the weird measurements. We've got 4K cameras, but we're talking about, sub-millimeter things, so bear with us when we say things like, it's 3 human hairs. Why? It's the best we can come up with. And I love the cold brew concept, because I think this says 2 things. You can use it for straining, but you can also just kind of leave it in there if you wanted to as well, right?
Yeah, so I leave it in there. I just kind of wrap it up like this. And also, best part about these is they have this little hook on them, so I can hook it either onto like a faucet, or if you have a hook that you usually hang things on, then you put the bowl right under and just allow it to strain on its own. You don't have to have anyone there. They're not tapping the edge of it, which commonly happens in restaurants. When you're doing stock, you put the chinois in, you pour through, you got to tap the edge. This one you can just hang and allow it to go through very easily, and it comes out crystal clear like the stock that I made. This is actually,
that's gorgeous.
Yeah, pork stock that I made, which is usually very fatty, and some of the fats, if it's cool enough, will stick to the inside of the super bag if you do it in the finest mode, or not the finest mode, but the finest micron.
Yeah.
Also, if you're going to do something like stock, to get those large particles out, we do have a value pack, so you can have different sizes. So if you want to have an 800 micron, right, you can pour through there, and then say you have the 100 micron.
You have 100 micron.
Yeah, so you can go from the 800 port through to get out those big particles,
Yeah.
and then you go to the 100 micron to really refine it. It's not going to make it crystal clear like a consomme because it's not pulling out anything that's attached to the proteins, but it is going to make it nice and clear, and it'll help pull out a little bit of that fat that sits on the top.
Yeah, and we mentioned that value pack right there. One of the common questions we get is, which fineness do I need in terms of, do I need the 800 micron, the 100 micron? It does depend on what your final product's going to look like, but bear in mind also, the finer the mesh, the longer it's going to take to strain things through it, just like any other, your fine mesh chinois and stuff like that. So the value pack's probably a good way to go if you find yourself doing a lot of different kinds of straining. And a note, when we say value pack, these also are a great value. They are reusable to an incredible extent, so they happen to be not just machine washable, which I think this might be one of the few things we have that can actually go in your washing machine. Maybe the only thing we have that can go in your washing machine. So you wash them out easy. You had mentioned you just invert them.
Yeah, you just invert them. I like to spray them off or just soak them a little bit of water to get the bulk of the debris off of. Do know that when you put it into the washing machine, it is a fine mesh, so if you're putting a lot of dirty things into that washing machine, sometimes it'll cake up on top, but that's why I invert it, so I can spray it off and then sterilize it, do whatever. If for some reason it does that. That's not common, but it could.
Right.
Also, not only are these machine washable, you can filter your fry oil through these as long as it's below like 325 degrees.
Yeah.
So these are really resilient up to high temperatures. So if you're doing a stock, you don't have to worry about it. I know it feels like plastic, but it's a very durable, high temp plastic. And if you're doing fry oil, just let it cool down to below 325 and then pour it right through, and you get all those particles out.
Yeah, it's a pretty resilient material. I wouldn't use it necessarily like carry around your knives in, but it'll certainly survive tons of kitchen use and abuse. They are professional grade, so they're great for any kitchen, whether that's culinary professionals or just an adventurous home user or somebody who just really likes cold brew. I can't stress this enough. The cold brew is great. I've had some today. All right, so we talked a little bit about how cost effective this is. I like some of the. Let's go back to some of the uses for this as well. So straining oil, which I think is probably a big one. Of course, is the ones we'd think of with this. The cold brew, stocks we talked about, the batch mo we talked about, infusions I think as well. Right?
Yeah. So if you make let's say chive oil at your restaurant or even at home, doesn't matter where you make it, you can pour it through this and it'll filter out almost everything. Maybe some water will go through because chives do have water in them.
Sure.
But you can make a really beautiful chive oil. It doesn't have to go through a cheesecloth, which cheesecloth tends to hold on to a ton of that oil. It'll absorb a bunch of this. This is non-absorbent. It'll hold on a little bit because they are very similar to making bubbles. But you can just strain it right out and it's beautiful. It's super easy to use, and you don't have to worry about anything coming through like pieces of the chive or anything like that.
Yeah, so these are an absolute must-have for most kitchens. Whether you fry a lot and just want to filter your oil through, you want to make fine infused oils, cold brews. I keep going back to cold brew. It is a little bit earlier.
It's an infusion, so it works right here.
And pretty much anything you would use your normal chinois or other filtration devices for. This is an absolutely fantastic, affordable, reusable, and tough piece of kitchen gadgetry, if you can call it a gadgetry.
And a lot of people like to ask, what size do I need? Obviously, if you're making 5 to 10 gallon batches of stock, I would definitely use the extra large. You can fit so much in there, and if you have a place to put this, you can pull it right up out of your stock pot and just let it strain through. It's very strong. The ring on it is a durable plastic if you want to knock it on the table a little bit. It's not going to break. It's not going to bend. And then the nylon that's holding onto it, the cloth, is going to really just stand up to a lot of weight. And I've put quite a bit of stuff in here without it even bowing. So, but this large right here is probably my favorite size if I'm doing just general use, because I can fit almost 2 gallons of liquid in there easily, and just to let it go. But if you're just at home or you just need a small thing, which is great because these are collapsible. You can put them right into like a little cabinet.
Even the big one will just like go right into that cabinet.
You can fit it, slide it in between two things, and it's not going to take up a bunch of space like a chinois would or a normal strainer. But these little ones are great. If you just have a small infusion or ricotta, you put it right through there, you let it sit, and you come back the next day. like I said, we're going to keep going back to this cold brew, but
Yeah.
this, medium-sized one works beautiful. The small size works beautiful for it as well. So.
There you go. Any tips for use apart from that? Remove the label.
Yeah, remove
use.
the label and just make sure it's clean. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't think there's any issues with, putting anything through this other than screaming hot oil or, anything that's going to be sharp that'll potentially puncture it. But even then, it's pretty resilient. So
Yeah.
bones and stuff should be okay.
Cool. All right, well, there you have it. Superbags. What are you going to do with this new superpower? Let us know. We've got comments down below. Let us know, what infusions you might make, or if this is finally that thing you were looking for to get a finer, more clear stock. We'd love to hear from you. You'll also notice down below this video, there's a subscribe button. Hey, if you like these videos, hit that button. If you like the kind of content we talk about here, this one we didn't talk much about recipes, but look, if you love that inspiration in recipes, we've got a column called Ask a Chef, and these WTFs. Head on over to blog.modernistpantry.com. Go to any page, scroll all the way down, you'll see just a simple email sign-up field. About once every 2 weeks, you'll get an email letting you know that the newest content is out and available and ready for you to come and enjoy. Superbags are available at modernistpantry.com. Fastest way to find them, go to modernistpantry.com. Search bar up in the top middle, type in you'll probably get as far as sup, and it'll start recommending Superbags.
It'll be that and Super Agar, and that's about it.
Yeah, so type in Superbags, click on the one you want. I recommend the value pack because you'll get one of everything and it's the best way to go, size you want, and let us know, show us your pictures and what you're doing with it.
Yeah, the more stuff you do with it, the more stuff I can do with it, and the more recipes we can come out with. So.
Speaking of recipes, ingredients, and problems to solve, do you have an idea for a WTF? A surprising amount of these episodes do come from you guys. Leave us a comment down below or send us an email at blog.modernistpantry.com. Click the Ask a Chef. You'll see a handy form there that you can fill out. It'll go straight to this guy, so we'll leave your comments down below. So if you have a question or something you want clarified, he'll get to it way faster than me or anybody else will. So it's a for chef by chef kind of opportunity for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on WTF, where we transform food. Do we have anything else to say about Superbags?
No.
All right, I'm Mark Frechette.
And I'm Scott Guerin.
Have a fantastic day.